So let's take a look at my 1911-22. I've been doing a little bit of work on it. So this started out as a Sig 1911-22, which is made by German sports gun GSG, and it's basically identical, except when you buy a Sig, it says Sig on it. Or actually, I think it said it on the grips, but I've changed so much I forgot what it said. So I've done a lot on this. I think I've talked about it a little bit before. This exoskeleton from CWA, very good quality stuff. I just did their main strap and mag well. Came out really nice. The original one had a rounded, which I really don't like. It doesn't match my real 1911, and I just like the way this fits in my hand better. Oh yeah, by the way, so everybody's happy. Unloaded. So I got these new grips from Cool Hand Grips off of Amazon. They were like, I think 40 bucks. Came out really nice. Got the deeper cut here for the mag release. Got the metal Wilson or Dawson precision optical fiber sights on there. It's got a ZR tactical cone and bushing. Also, it's got the steel recoil spring guide and their aluminum cap. So when I bought this, I wasn't even thinking that on the original magazines that this base cap down here is real small, and you got to really work it to get it up in there. See how it fits? So luckily, CWA makes this really nice extension all aluminum. Great finish on it. And it has 2 Allen screws for set screws. Here's what it looks like done. So, bam. Nice. It gives you a little extension so you fully know that you're engaged. Just to make sure, since I didn't rack it, nothing's in there. And this has actually the original safety lever. I really didn't like it. Stuck out a little too far. When I get my thumb up here, I carry my gun like this because I don't like, this is really sensitive. If you get your thumb on this slide while you're shooting, it will not go in the battery. It's way sensitive because you only got a 22 long rifle in here. You're moving a bit of weight back and forth. So I tend to keep mine under it, and that original one wore on my finger right here, and actually would wear a little spot if I put a couple hundred rounds through this gun. This one came off of my Colt 45, which I replaced that one with a Wilson Combat. So what's nice about, other than the slide and the way it moves, this part of this gun here is a 1911, and real 1911 parts fit it. So when you're buying these 22 guns to do as trainers, you want to keep your eye out because a lot of them are totally different. They look like a 1911 or they look like an AR, but yet the function and the way it goes together is totally different. Not just the, the slide area, because these are all going to be in blowback. All right, so what I was going to do is real quick show you how you take care of this deal here. So on this, it comes with an Allen screw for the 2 little sets. So you can use that to push in the little catch. Slide this out, have your finger there so you can catch it. I always put springs and things in the way they came out of, so I know how to put things back together, and it goes back together the same way. Now what I did want to show was this is a little different than a standard magazine. A standard magazine, this would normally come out, but because it has this little pull down piece here for the 22, so to make it easier to load, is if you look in on this side here where it says made in Germany, all the real ones will say that. There is a little cutout down here, and this little pin actually pushes into that little hole there, and it'll just slide right out, and then this will slide out. So you have this little pin like this that sits up into here, And the one side's got a little recess and the other side doesn't. And this, actually, because it looks like they just drilled in one shot, I don't know if you can see how the bottom is a larger than the actual slide area. So normally I would clean this all out, but I didn't want to go through that on camera, and I had already tore this all apart, cleaned these all out, and put it back together, but I didn't put the base on this one. It's very simple. So get your slide back up in there, get your spring in there, and so this little plastic piece here and the base don't go in this time. So you just want to set that down with your finger. Take your new one, slide it on, and what I did was, they didn't say to, but me being me, I took just a little bit, actually not this, hang on a second. I need a toothpick to do this, and a little piece of paper. So just to make sure, I want to put a little thread lock on those Allen screws. So what I'll do is I'll put that paper down there, put a drop of blue on it, because one day I will want it to come apart. I'm almost out of blue. Wow. Time for a new bottle of that. And just take your toothpick and get a little drop of it up on there. And put it in that hole. So you don't make it. You're not going to need a bunch. This is not going to be subject to coming apart. And basically you're going to have two screws that are both doing the exact same thing. You're just using, these are just locking up in behind this to keep it from ever sliding out. And if one was to come loose, the other one would do the same thing. And you have to play with it a little bit to find that. Get this up in there. It's always easier to do when you're not on camera. There that one is. Just turn that up. And you only needed a couple threads up. Boom. And that just picks up that thread lock that I already put on there. There it goes. Let's see if we can see that thread come up. And then just take this and clean out a little bit of thread lock off. And that's it. Good to go. With that set up. And another one. A little bit expensive. These things are like 25 bucks a piece. So I only get buy a couple at a time. And what I do, so here's the part number for them. And since I use their little bit heavier power recoil spring, what I do is anytime I order from them, I take the opportunity. When I use one of these springs, I buy one and throw it in my car or my little case, so that the next time I have one, so I'm not waiting. So I just swap this in, and then I'll just order another one. Just part of the way, try to keep things so I have all my spare parts for the stuff. So that's done. And that came out, and it looks really nice. Oh, one other thing too, this had a magazine safety, so if it didn't have a magazine, it wouldn't shoot. Also, this gun comes originally set up like a Series 80 Colt. In other words, it has a firing pin safety also, so when you're pulling the trigger back, not only are you you have this safety and this safety, which are the normal 1911 safeties, but it had another one that would pull down a little pin and let the firing pin operate. My Colt 45 is a Series 70, which doesn't have that, and I preferred not to have it. And you have to buy a little shim kit that shims out this side of where the sear sits in there, and you can eliminate that. You can also eliminate it on a Series 80 full-size Colt too. I just think it cleans up the trigger and gives you a much nicer trigger. You don't feel that there's a little bit of resistance added. And to me, the whole idea of the 1911 is the trigger. I think it came out pretty nice. Originally had brown fake wood grips. Had these on there. Well, I guess it did say Sig on the slide, not on the grips. And these were nice grips. I just wanted something a little different. Plus, another thing was when I went to the magwell, these are standard grips for without a magwell, and you see how they have the bottom cut. These are for a magwell, and these are cut flat. You see how you'd look here different. Also, these grips here are with a thin, which is about 3/16 of an inch. It's hard to see, but these grips here are a lot more full. So for some people, my hands aren't giant, and I just like that little bit thinner grip. I can get in this gun a lot tighter this way. Where some people need a little bit more to fill out their hand. Some people like that back strap to have that little bit of roundness to it. I don't. My other gun's flat also, and I don't like. I like it this way. I just get in there tighter, and I think I get a better grip on the gun. I can lock it down a lot better. All right. Just real quick, if you have any questions, you know how that goes. I'd love to see the comments. Thanks for everybody that's been jumping on the site. I appreciate that too. And like I said, if you have something, you have a question, ask a question. I may have an answer. If not, I'll tell you. Oh, and these sites are really nice. And one nice thing about these compared to the ones that came with it, these are metal, not plastic. They're not going to change or deform. And they're right on. You can see how nice that looks. Let's see if we can get that. Site picture looks a lot better in real. But you can see how that goes. And I shoot CCI. These are hollow points. I really don't like the hollow points. I like the round nose. I find that the hollow points tend to want to sit up a little bit and get caught in the slide. They will shoot. They will rack it. That's the biggest thing with this gun. You got to use a high velocity round. And the Winchester X worked pretty well. But I still think the CCI out of everything I've shot is still some of the cleanest stuff you can buy. You can see the residue, but it's not like little mountains of unburned or burnt powder sitting in your gun. It's just cleaner. If you shoot it, you understand why. If you don't, you don't. Try it. You might understand it. All right. Thanks. Oh, one other thing before I forget. When I got this, I didn't. You can get these, and you can get the part to change these mags so they'll hold a little bit more. I think they'll hold like 13 instead of the 10. Some people may like that. I myself don't, for the simple fact that 13 is not an even number, and when you're buying the CCI, it comes in a container, but these are how the rounds are stored. And so they're 5 to a row, so it's very easy just to open up the top a little bit, unleash 5 or 10 and drop 10. That way it's not like you end up with 1 or 2 or some weird number. And when I'm shooting my other 22, it takes 25, so I can keep even numbers and not have all like 1 or 2 bullets left over when I'm all done, or rounds when I'm all done. Just to let you know though, if you do want, you can extend these out a little bit more to like 13, I think it is, 13 rounds. This is a little bit cut out, I believe, and the little follower on the inside is a little bit changed in height also, in a different spring. But just want to touch base, let you know that too. All right, have a good day. Bye.